Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Crack UPSC CSE English. In today's session, we'll learn about representation of the People Act. Yes friends, now which is also known as RPA, Representation of the People Act. Before going to start today's session, it's my pleasure to welcome you all on Unacademy, India's largest learning platform, where you will get unlimited access for live and recorded classes, structured courses, and much more. Yes, it's me, Rushikesh Inamdar, guiding UPSC aspirants from last 8 years. You can follow me on Unacademy. And friends, you can join our special classes on Unacademy app. Yes friends, now just reserve your date, 13 June from 10 am to 12 pm. We are conducting Unacademy Civil Services Championship, in which you will get attractive prizes and scholarships. So here is the chance to win 25% to 100% scholarships, Unacademy physical notes, and prizes like MacBook, iPad, iPhone and AirPods. So hurry up, it's free for all. Enroll yourself for Unacademy Civil Services Championship. So link is the given in description box. Through that you can enroll for that. Yes friends, here is the limited period offer. Already we have discussed so many times. So today is the last day for yes you can offer. Now in this offer you can save on combo subscriptions and extension of that your course till preliminary examination. For example, if you will go with the 1 year of combo subscription, then you will get validity extension till next preliminary examination, that is preliminary examination 2022. You will get Unacademy notes, and we are providing loans and no cost EMI facility. So hurry up and enroll yourself for UPSC subscriptions. So friends, these are the combo prices. Normally for 1 year course of general studies and optional, you have to pay 77,000, but in this offer you'll get discount and you have to pay only 57,500 rupees. If we are talking about 1 year of iconic GS and optional subscription, normally you have to pay 1,02,000 rupees, but in this scheme you have to pay only 76,500 in this offer. So hurry up and boost up your preparation with Unacademy. So friends, we are also providing iconic and plus subscription. So those aspirants pursuing their graduation or after their 12th examination planning to start their preparation for civil services, they can go with iconic subscription, because they will get all the features of plus courses like live classes, structured courses, unlimited access for live and recorded classes, weekly test, along with additional features like study planner, study material, expert guidelines, test analysis and personal guidance. We are providing plus and iconic paid courses on our platform. So friends, here you can use code RBI Live to get 10% discount. Yes, you can use code RBI Live or SPRBI10 to get 10% discount, which means for 2 years of plus subscription you have to pay only 64,800 rupees, and for 2 years of iconic subscription you have to pay 1,04,175. But under this yes you can offer, you will get more discount. Yes friends, we are going to start new batch from 2nd June. So we have normal batches like regular batches, 1 year, 2 year batches, NCRT batches and revision batches, free test series for all aspirants where we'll cover general studies and current affairs part. So you can use code RBI Live to unlock the test. Unacademy Combat. We are conducting combat on every Sunday morning 11 am. The combat available in Hindi and English medium. Here also you can enroll for the combat with using code RBI Live and it's absolutely free for all aspirants. So friends, let's start today's session. Representation of the People Act. Now friends, see the picture. Which indicates the process of election. Yes. So now we'll see how Representation of the People Act is a part of election or the interlinked with the elections and more details in today's session. So please share the link for your friends with this lecture. So we'll start. Here we go. So friends, now if we are talking about representation of the People Act in background, the country like India, or when we are talking about democratic nation, the holding of free and fair elections is the sine qua non of democracy. So to ensure the conduct of elections in free and fair and in an impartial manner, the constitution makers incorporated part 15th in the constitution, that is article 324 to 329, impart parliament to make laws to regulate the electoral process. So the Election Commission of India is the watchdog of free and fair elections in the country, and article 324 of the constitution which provides its establishment. Article 324 which deals with the Election Commission of India. Now in this context, the Parliament has enacted the Representation of the People Act 1950 and 1951. Yes. Now, so friends, when we are talking about election process or who is conducting election, I hope everyone attended the session. We have covered the topic election. So the Parliament has enacted RPA 1950 and 1951 in regard with the elections. So there are points to be covered like universal suffrage. Yes, after independence, there was a need to hold general election to elect a truly representative government on the basis of universal adult suffrage. Friends, if you have studied about Constituent Assembly, or if you remember, in Constituent Assembly, our constitution makers discuss election process in our country, and they also discuss about, or they also discuss the universal adult suffrage in our election process. So Article 325 of the Constitution, which ensures universal suffrage and provides that no person be ineligible for inclusion in, or to claim to be included in, a special electoral roll on grounds of religion, race, caste, or sex. So universal adult suffrage is the right to vote for all adult citizens regardless of wealth, income, gender, social, race, or ethnicity, which is subject only to minor exceptions. So normally, friends, there is equal opportunity or equality through citizens about voting process. Yes, friends. Now we'll see Election Commission of India, ECI. The ECI, as an independent constitutional authority, was therefore brought into force from November 26, 1949. As we know the importance of Election Commission. Now, the Election Commission of India, as an independent constitutional authority, was therefore brought into force from 26 November 1949. Then, the acts to provide legal framework for conduct of elections, Parliament passed Representation of the People Act 1950 and Representation of the People Act 1951 and Delimitation Commission Act of 2002. So delimitation, which is for the purpose of first general elections to the Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabhas. So the first delimitation order was issued by the President in consultation with Election Commission of India and with the approval of Parliament in August 1951. So now we'll see a few related terms: delimitation, the Acts, and Election Commission of India. Now, Representation of the People Act RPA 1950 we'll see in detail. Now this act, which lays down procedures for delimitation of constituencies, the act provides for the allocation of seats in the House of the People and in the legislative assemblies and legislative councils of states. which lays procedure for the preparation of electoral rolls and the manner of filling seats. The Act, which also lays down the qualification of voters. Yes. So these are the key provisions lays down procedure for delimitation of constituencies, provides for the allocation of seats in the House of the People and in the legislative assemblies and legislative councils of states, lays procedure for the preparation of electoral rolls and the manner of filling seats, and lay down the qualification of voters. Now, first of all, we'll discuss, friends, delimiting constituencies. Yes, Ramkumar in today's session will discuss about Representation of the People Act. Now, delimiting constituencies. The President of India has been conferred the power to amend orders which delimiting constituencies only after consulting the Election Commission of India. So in Lok Sabha, there is reservation of seats for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, and the Election Commission of India has the power to determine the constituencies to be reserved for scheduled tribes in the states of Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Tripura. So friends, with the delimiting constituencies, now we'll discuss Delimitation Commission. So, under Article 82 of the Constitution, the Parliament by law enacts a Delimitation Act after every census. And after coming into force the commencement of the Act, the central government constitutes a Delimitation Commission. And this Delimitation Commission demarcates the boundaries of the parliamentary constituencies as per provisions of the Delimitation Act. Now, the present delimitation of constituencies has been done on the basis of the 2001 census. Yes, on the basis of the 2001 census, which figures under the provisions of the Delimitation Act 2002. Now, notwithstanding the above, the Constitution of India was specifically amended in 2002, which not to have delimitation of the constituencies till the first census after 2026. Thus, the present constituencies carved out on the basis of the 2001 census, which shall continue to be in operation till the first census after 2026. So, Delimitation Commission, under Article 82 of the Constitution, the Parliament by law which enacts the Delimitation Act after every census. Now, after that we'll see allocation of seats. As far as possible, every state gets representation in the Lok Sabha in proportion to its population as per census figures. So, every state gets representation in the Lok Sabha in proportion to its population as per census figures. Then, electoral rolls. The 1950 Act, which permits the registration of persons in the electoral rolls who are ordinarily resident in the constituency and persons holding service qualification, such a member of armed forces, member of armed police force of a state serving outside the state, or central government employees posted outside India. Certain offices in India, which declared by the President in the consultation with Election Commission of India. Then the wives of such persons are also deemed to be ordinarily residing in India. There is a proposal for making some provisions gender neutral by replacing the term wife with spouse. Yes, so it's about electoral rolls. Now, Chief Electoral Officer. The Act is also talking about Chief Electoral Officer. Each state to have a CEO nominated or designated by the Election Commission of India in consultation with the state government to supervise the election work in the state or union territories. Then, the Election Commission of India also nominates or designates an officer of the state as the district election officer, DEO, in consultation with the state government. So the district election officer works under the overall superintendence and control of the CEO, that is Chief Electoral Officer. Then Electoral Registration Officer, ERO. This is the, we can say, machinery of election and the administrative part. The Electoral Registration Officer. So the ERO is responsible for the preparation of the electoral roll for each constituency, that is for parliamentary and assembly, an appeal against the order of the electoral registration officer during the update of the electoral rolls now lies with district magistrate. Then returning officer RO. RO is responsible for the conduct of the election in a constituency and returns an elected candidates. So he is responsible for the conduct of the election in a constituency and returns an elected candidate. Returning officer. So the Election Commission of India nominates or designates an officer of the government or local authority as the returning officer in consultation with the state government. Then power to make under the act is conferred to the central government, which can exercise this power in consultation with the Election Commission of India. So, power to make rules under the Act is conferred to the central government, which can exercise this power to consultation with the Election Commission of India. So, the civil courts have also been barred to question the legality of any action of the ERO regarding revision of electoral rules. The civil courts have also been barred to question the legality of any action of the ERO regarding revision of electoral rules. Yes. Now, after that, voting rights. In 2010, voting rights were extended to citizens of India living abroad. So, power to make rules under the Act is conferred to the central government, which can exercise their powers, this power, in consultation with the Election Commission of India. And voting rights in 2010, voting rights were extended to citizens of India living abroad. Now, Representation of the People Act 1950 schedules. So, in the first schedule, which talked about the allocation of seats in the House of the People. The second schedule, which talks about the total number of seats in the legislative assemblies. The third schedule, which talks about the allocation of seats in the legislative councils. And the fourth schedule, which talks about the local authorities for purpose of elections to legislative councils. So the first, second, third and fourth schedule of RPA 1950. So now, after that we will see the Representation of the People Act 1951. So friends, if we are talking about again key provisions of this act, so this act regulates the actual conduct of elections and by-elections, actual conduct of elections and by-elections. Then it provides administrative machinery for conducting elections. It deals with the registration of political parties. The Act specifies the qualifications and disqualifications for membership of the houses. And it provides provisions to curb corrupt practices and other offences. It lays down the procedure for settling doubts and disputes arising out of elections. So, the Representation of the People Act, which regulates the actual conduct of elections and by-elections, then provides administrative machinery for conducting elections, then deals with the registration of political parties. It specifies the qualifications and disqualifications for membership of the houses. It provides provisions to curb corrupt practices and other offences. It lays down the procedure of settling doubts and disputes arising out of elections. Now, qualification for contesting elections in India. So, the Parliament has laid down qualifications in the Representation of the People Act 1951. A person must be an elector in the constituency. The person must be a member of a scheduled caste or scheduled tribe in any state, union, territory if she wants to contest a seat reserved for them. Then the minimum age for becoming an MLA or MP. Yes, the MLAs in state legislatures and MPs in Lok Sabha is 25 years. At the panchayat and municipality levels, the minimum age limit for contesting elections is 21 years. At the panchayat and municipality levels, the minimum age limit for contesting elections is 21 years. Then, right to vote. Apart from Article 326 of the Constitution, Section 62 of the RPA 1951, which also ensures that every person who is the electoral roll of that constituency is entitled to vote. Then one person can vote at one constituency only and only for one time in a particular election. Yes, the law is talked about the reducing duplicacy of votes. Right to vote. Then, if a person is confined in a prison, whether under a sentence of imprisonment or transportation, then he is not eligible for voting. However, in the case of preventive custody, he can vote. So if a person is confined in a prison, whether under a sentence of imprisonment or transportation, then he is not eligible for voting. However, in the case of preventive custody, he can vote. Now in 2014, the Election Commission of India had said that the person under preventive custody had the right to vote but not under trials and convicts. However, the Act allows those serving sentences less than 2 years to contest elections from prison. Now, the NOTA option. I hope, friends, all of you are aware about NOTA option. So, none of the above was introduced in the ballot papers or electronic voting machine EVMs in general elections to the state assemblies in 2013. Yes, NOTA option, none of the above option was introduced in the ballot papers or EVMs in general election to the state assemblies in 2013. Then voter verifiable paper audit trail. VVPAT is an independent system attached with the electronic voting machine that allows voters to verify that their votes are cast as intended. It was introduced in 2013, and after the Supreme Court allowed the Election Commission of India for the requirement of free and fair elections in its verdict in the People's Union for Civil Liberties versus Union of India case 2013. VVPAT. Then the provisions related to political parties. So every association or body, in order to become a political party, must be registered with the Election Commission of India, whose decision regarding registration will be final. Now, registered political parties in course of time can get recognition as state party, national party. Now, change in name and address of a registered political party, which must be communicated to the Election Commission of India. So change in name and address of registered political party must be communicated to the Election Commission of India. The Election Commission of India cannot derecognize a party Yes. So these are the provisions related to political parties and their registration, which is mentioned in the RPA 1951. Then voluntary contributions. So voluntary contributions by any person or company within India can be accepted by the registered political party. So a company can donate any amount of money to any political party, and there is no obligation of the company to report such donations in its profit and loss account. So the voluntary contributions. So voluntary contributions by any person or company within India other than a government company can be accepted by the registered political party. So it is mandatory for the political parties to submit to the Election Commission of India a list of donations they received above rupees 2000. Yes, it's mandatory for all political parties to submit the list of donations they received about 2000 to the Election Commission of India. So political parties cannot receive more than 2000 as cash donations. Yes, this is the clause. So political parties cannot receive more than rupees 2000 as cash donations. And now political parties are eligible to accept contribution from foreign companies which defined under the FCRA Act 2010, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010. Then, declaration of assets and liabilities. Now, individuals contesting elections have to file an affidavit which declaring their criminal records, assets and liabilities and educational qualification. After getting elected, members of parliaments are required to file a declaration of assets and liabilities with the Speaker of Lok Sabha and the Chairman of Rajya Sabha. So after getting elected, members of parliaments are required to file a declaration of assets and liabilities with the Speaker of Lok Sabha and the Chairman of Rajya Sabha. So these declarations have to be made by MPs within 90 days of taking their seats in Parliament. Now, right to information. Candidate need to furnish information whether he or she is accused of any offense punishable with imprisonment of 2 years or more in a pending case or has been convicted of an offense. This is also clause mentioned in the RPN 1951. Then, voting through postal ballot. Any class of person can be notified by the Election Commission of India in consultation with the concerned government, which can give their votes by postal ballot. So voting through postal ballot, any class of person can be notified by the Election Commission of India in consultation with the concerned government, which can give their votes by postal ballot. Then, Section 126 of the RPN 1951. So in section 126 of the RPN 1951, which describes 48 hours before the polling ends or concludes, displaying of any election matter by television or similar apparatus in constituency is prohibited. Section 126 is not applicable to the print media, news portals and social media. The section 126A, which prohibits the conduct of exit poll and dissemination of its results during the period mentioned. Then, ceiling on expenditure. A candidate contesting polls in large states can spend up to 70 lakh in the Lok Sabha election and rupees 28 lakh in an assembly election. So there is provision of ceiling on expenditure. Then counting of votes. At every election where a poll is taken, the votes are counted by or under the supervision of the returning officer RO and contesting candidate, his election agent and his counting agents. Now, destruction, loss, damage or tampering of ballot papers at the time of counting must be reported by the returning officer to the Election Commission of India. So the process of counting of votes and the code of conduct which is mentioned by the Election Commission of India should be followed by all stakeholders. Then corrupt practices. So all government or non-government officials are included within the scope of corrupt practices. Bribery, any gift, offer, promise or gratification to any person as a motive or reward. Undue influence, any direct or indirect interference, attempt to interfere on the part of candidate with the free exercise of any electoral rights. Then the publication by a candidate. The publication by a candidate, any statement of fact which is false in relation to the personal character or conduct of any candidate, the hiring or procuring of any vehicle by a candidate of any elector to or from any polling station, then promoting enmity. Any person who promotes or attempts to promote on grounds of religion, race, caste, community or language, feelings of enmity or hatred between different classes of citizens of India can be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend for 3 years. Then, prohibition of public meetings during a period of 48 hours ending with the are fixed for the conclusion of the poll. Yes, there is prohibition of public meetings during a period of 48 hours which ending with the are fixed for the conclusion of the poll. Now after that we'll see disqualification of member of parliaments and member of legislative assemblies. So the Representation of the People Act 1951, which lays down certain rules for disqualification of MPs and MLAs, section 8 subclause 3 of the act states that if an MP or MLA is convicted for any other crime and is sent to jail for 2 years or more, he shall be disqualified for 6 years from the time of release. Yes, Section 8, Clause 3 of the Act states that if a member of parliament or member of legislative assembly is convicted for any other crime and now even if a person is on bail after the conviction and his appeal is pending for disposal, he is disqualified from contesting an election. Yes, the RPA 1951, which lays down certain rules for disqualification of member of parliaments and member of legislative assemblies, where Section 8, Clause 3 of the Act states that if an MP or MLA is convicted for any other crime and is sent to jail for 2 years or more, he shall be disqualified. He or she will be disqualified for 6 years from the time of release. And even if a person is on bail after the conviction and his appeal is pending for disposal, he is disqualified from contesting an election. Then Section 8 Clause 4, which allowed convicted MPs and MLAs and MLCs to continue their post, which provided them appeal against their conviction sentence in higher courts within 3 months of the date of judgment by the trial court. Section 8 Clause 4, which allowed convicted MPs, MLAs and MLCs to continue in their post, provided they appealed against their conviction sentence in higher courts within 3 months of the date of judgment by the trial court. The Supreme Court in July 2013, which struck down Section 8 Clause 4 of the RPA 1951 and declared it ultra vires and held that the disqualification takes place from the date of conviction. Yes. Now we'll see significance of these representation of the people acts. Direct democracy. The provision of direct democracy for every constituency makes the process of election more democratic and participatory by encouraging and empowering people to play an active role in choosing appropriate candidates. Now, equal representation. The RPA 1950, which provides for delimitation, which brings equally in the process of election Yes, the RPA 1950, which provides for delimitation, which brings equality in the process of election by ensuring roughly an equal number of electors in each constituency. Then federalism. The acts strengthen the federal polity of the country by giving due representation to each state in the parliament. Then decriminalizing Indian politics. The RPA 1951, which plays a significant role in breaking the politicians, police and criminal nexus by prohibiting the entry of persons with a criminal background into the electoral process, thus decriminalizing Indian politics. Then accountability and transparency. The RPA 1951, which provides for the expenditure monitoring mechanism, which ensures the accountability and transparency of the candidate in the use of public funds or misuse of power for personal benefits. Then clean election. The RPA 1951, which prohibits corrupt practices like booth capturing, bribery or promoting enmity, etc., and ensures the conduct of free and fair elections, which in turn encourage political liberalization and democratization. Then legal political funding. Sorry, legible political funding. The next point is legible political funding. The RPA 1951, which provides that only those political parties which are registered under section 929A of the RPA 1951 are eligible to receive electoral bonds, thus providing a mechanism to track the source of political funding and ensuring transparency in electoral funding. Then challenges. False disclosures. Even after the provision of the declaration of assets and liabilities in the RPA Act, candidates do not disclose all the assets and provide wrong and incomplete information regarding their assets, liabilities, and income and educational qualifications. Then, the bureaucratization of politics, in spite of the inclusion of several provisions aimed at making the Election Commission of India as an independent body, it is still dependent on the Union for Financial Matters that paves the way for political parties to manage to get the offices in their favor through money and muscle power. Then dual responsibility of the Election Commission of India. So the Election Commission of India does not have independent staff of its own. So whatever elections takes place, it has to depend upon staff of central and state governments. Hence the dual responsibility of the administrative staff to the government for ordinary administration and to the Election Commission of India for electoral administration. is not conducive to the impartial and efficient functioning of the Commission. Now, misuse of government machinery. So, the Representation of the People Act the RPS lack clear provisions and guidelines on the matters related to the misuse of official machinery that gives an unfair advantage to the ruling party at the time of elections and leads to the misuse of public funds for furthering the prospects of candidates of a particular party. Then the misuse of official machinery, which takes different forms, such as the issue of advertisements at the cost of government and public exchequer highlighting their achievements, disbursements out of discretionary funds at the disposal of the ministers, use of government vehicles for canvassing, etc. So the misuse of official machinery, which takes different forms, such as the issues of advertisements at the cost of government and public exchequer of highlighting their achievements, disbursements out of the discretionary funds at the disposal of the ministers, and use of government vehicle for canvassing, etc. So this is the misuse of government machinery. Now, along with the way forward of RPA's acts, which is restrictions on opinion polls, by amendment made to the RPA 1951, the conducting and publishing results of exit polls have been prohibited, and there should be a similar prohibition or restriction on opinion polls. Also, as several manipulated opinion polls could impact the voting pattern. Then, false declaration as offense. The RPA 1951 should be amended to include all the items related to the election disclosure in the affidavit and making false declaration in connection with the election to be an offense. Then Independent Election Commission of India, in order to curb the practice of bureaucratization of politics and to secure complete independence of the election commission, so its expenditure should be charged on the Consolidated Fund of India. Then delisting of valid electorates. The Parliament must pass a law dealing with the serious problem of delisting of valid electors from electoral rolls because illiterate electorate residing in far villages cannot watch over the publication of electoral lists. Then state funding of elections to minimize the role of money in elections, and provision should be made for state funding of elections. Then a few government reports which have highlighted the prospects of state funding of elections, like Indrajit Gupta Committee on State Funding of Elections 1998, Law Commission Report on Reforms of the Electoral Laws 1999, the National Commission to Review the Working of the Constitution 2001, and second Administrative Reform Commission, second ARC 2008. So the powers of the Election Commission of India are enormous and all encompassing, which even exceed the powers of the exclusive, yes, powers of the executive. Yes, the powers of Election Commission of India are enormous and all encompassing, which even exceed the powers of the executive in all election related issues during the course of the election period. So thereby giving the effective tools in dispensing free and fair elections. The only thing that lacks is will and integrity on the part of responsible officials. And the Election Commission of India should become more prudent and proactive to ensure the fairness and transparency of the general election and wipe away and doubt regarding its integrity as esteemed institution. So friends, that's it for the representation of People Act in today's session. Now see you in the next lecture with new topic. Till the time, do not forget to join our courses like Paid Courses Plus and Iconic, where you will get discount of 10% using referral code RBI Life, or even you can use code SPRBI10 for the discount. Free test series. We are providing free test series for all aspirants where we are covering general studies and current affairs part. You have to use code RBI Live to unlock the tests. And Unacademy Combat we are conducting on every Sunday morning 11 AM. You can use code RBI Live to enroll for Unacademy Combat. Now friends, Combat will help you to boost up your preparation. Like number of aspirants also participating in it, so you can evaluate your preparation during the combat. Yes, we have started new batches from today. We have regular batches like 1 year batch, 2 year batches, NCRT batches and Phoenix revision batches. Yes friends, this is the exciting offer. Yes, you can. The offer is valid till today midnight. So on this combo price or combo subscriptions, you'll get huge discount and extension till preliminary examinations. You'll get Unacademy notes and loans and no cost EMI options. So hurry up and enroll yourself. These are the discounted prices for this offer. So friends, do not forget to like, share and subscribe Unacademy videos. See you in the next lecture. Till the time, keep studying, keep revising. Stay home, stay safe, take care.